When you are planning a Gatlinburg vacation with a large family, every attraction has to answer one important question. Is it worth it for a family of 10? I'll admit, I wasn't sure what to expect from the Titanic Museum. Would the younger kids be bored? Would the teens enjoy it? Would we spend hundreds of dollars just walking through the museum and reading signs? Today, we are sharing our honest experience from toddlers to teens and whether we would do it again. Welcome to the Mama Simply channel. We are a family of 10 sharing food, simple living, and everyday adventures. One thing we've learned is finding attractions everyone can enjoy can be challenging when your kids range from toddlers to teenagers. So throughout our Gatlinburg, Tennessee trip, we are reviewing each attraction through the eyes of a large family. Let's climb aboard. The first thing we noticed was the attention to detail. From the moment you arrive, it feels less like a museum and more like you are stepping into history. One of my favorite details came before we even started the tour. We were handed boarding passes with the name of a real passenger who sailed on the Titanic. Even the little kids received one. And each pass shared a short biography about that person, and suddenly it wasn't just learning about a ship. It became learning about someone's life. I thought this was such a thoughtful way to make history feel more personal. And then at the end of the experience, you find out what happened to your individual at this point, the museum requested that we do not film during our visit there, so we respected that. But I do want to talk about what our kids loved from the experience. So my teenagers really enjoyed taking their time, reading the exhibits, learning about the passengers, the ship, and everything that happened. They really weren't rushing through. They were genuinely interested. My husband especially loved seeing the authentic artifacts and learning about the passengers and the voyage. There was so much there to take in, and the interactive exhibits really held everyone's attention, and the teenagers really enjoyed learning, and they had a great time. The middle kids loved every interactive exhibit. They shoveled coal, and each of them took a turn doing that. They were really involved, and this was very well done. One exhibit in particular really surprised me was learning that one passenger brought a camera on board and took the famous photographs of the Titanic before the voyage. And I had never really thought about where those iconic images came from. And it made me realize how much history could have been lost if someone hadn't documented those moments. And that was really powerful to see those images. The middle kids really enjoyed the interactive displays, and they especially enjoyed learning about the different types of animals that were on board Titanic's voyage across the Atlantic. As our tour continued, we learned more about the experience of passengers aboard the Titanic throughout their various stages of what someone would expect in the various classes, and what meals were like aboard the Titanic, as well as the different passengers. And they even had a tribute to the musicians that were aboard the Titanic. And so it was very educational about that time period and what it was like. The boys especially enjoyed the opportunity to pretend to be steering. They learned what it would have been like to be in the steering area and steering a large ship. And that was really, really fun and interactive for all the kids. They all really enjoyed that. Another interactive exhibit all the kids really enjoyed was the opportunity to touch 28-degree water. And so you can place your hands inside the water, and all the kids did this, including Evelyn. And it was really just kind of an opportunity to sit there and splash around. But whenever you involve kids in water, they seem to be really pretty happy. The museum did a wonderful job of making history something that everybody could experience instead of just simply reading about. And let's talk about what the little kids loved, the youngest kids. There was Evelyn. And let's just say Evelyn wasn't having her best day. Traveling with toddlers and 3-year-olds sometimes means that someone is tired, hungry, overwhelmed, or just simply ready for a nap. But Evelyn's day turned around when she discovered the slanted deck. And that completely changed everything. She loved trying to walk across the tilted floor. And I think she would have stayed there all afternoon if we would have let her. And the funniest part is everyone else loved it too. One of the most meaningful parts of the experience actually came at the end of the tour, and you find out what happened to the passenger on the boarding pass, the biography that you were given. And I won't spoil it if you've never been, but it brings everything that you've learned all together in a really powerful way. And it really reminds you that these individuals weren't just names in a history book. They were real people with families and dreams and stories. Another favorite surprise was seeing the incredible Lego model of the Titanic. So, was the Titanic Museum worth the cost? For a large family of 10, every attraction is a significant investment. So, we were always asking ourselves, would we spend this money again? For us, yes, because every single age found something to enjoy. The museum was stroller friendly. We brought our stroller and we didn't have any issues at all. There is also an elevator available. The only thing I'd mention is there can be a wait, especially during busy times for the elevator. So if you are traveling with little ones, just plan a little bit of extra time. The bathrooms were conveniently located, which is especially helpful when we're in the middle of potty training. If you've ever traveled with toddlers, you know that that matters. The one thing I would change wasn't actually about the exhibits. It was the famous grand staircase photo area. Naturally, everyone wants to stop and take pictures there, and honestly, who can blame them? But because it's located right along the tour route, it creates a bottleneck, and people who are ready to continue the tour are waiting behind families taking pictures, while families taking pictures are feeling rushed because other people are waiting. I think it would work better if there was a dedicated photo area just off the main tour. And they do offer photos, and one of the screenshots that they do has that in the background. I know it's not quite the same as standing there, but I do feel like maybe having a photo area separate from the tour would have been really helpful. It's not something that would change whether I would recommend the museum. It's just one small improvement I thought of while we were there. So would we do it again? Absolutely. In fact, this ended up being my favorite attraction of our entire Gatlinburg trip. I loved how interactive it was. I loved how educational it was. Every member of our family, from our toddler all the way to our teenagers, found something they genuinely enjoyed when we left. I think my kids believe that they have become Titanic experts. And honestly, they probably have taught me a few things too. So for the Mama Simply family score, we gave the Titanic Museum a rating of 5 stars. The value, it was a bigger investment, but absolutely worth it for us. It was about $25 a person. It was little kid friendly. The toddlers enjoyed the interactive exhibits, but it still is a history museum, so just keep in mind younger kids may need a few breaks. It was big kid friendly. The older kids were fascinated by the exhibits and all of the artifacts. It was easy to navigate. It was very stroller friendly, but do expect to wait for the elevator during busy times to be able to complete the tour. The time needed, I would plan for at least a minimum of 2, more like 3 hours, so you can really enjoy everything. And would we return? Without question. This was personally my favorite attraction in Gatlinburg, and I was so happy that we were able to go. That was my number one thing that I wanted to do, and I would love to be able to go back. If you are visiting Gatlinburg with kids and wondering whether the Titanic Museum is worth adding to your itinerary, our family would absolutely recommend it. What impressed me most wasn't just the incredible artifacts or the beautiful exhibits. It was how the museum made history come alive for every member of our family. From toddlers laughing on the slanted deck, to teenagers reading every display, to discovering the story behind our own boarding passes, it became so much more than just a museum visit. It was one of those experiences we remember long after the vacation is over. Thanks so much for joining our family today. If you are enjoying our Was It Worth It series, I'd love for you to subscribe. Next time, we are heading somewhere completely different to answer every question a large family asks. Is it worth it for a family of 10? We'll see you in the next adventure.